So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the middle of the camp. So we looked at kind of the bedroom and also the living room of the camp. We're going to look at the kitchen and the middle. So one thing I really like, and I did have this in 216, but it's much easier on Camp Liberty, is this slide out extra counter space that slides out from underneath the counter. And it's a great little kind of extra workspace. You could leave it out if you wanted to leave your coffee pot out here or something like that. We just prefer to kind of put everything away when we're not using it and not leave out stuff on the counter. So I think this is really ingenious to have this little split pillow right here that can be stacked right here, and then you can go ahead and pull out your extra counter space. So I'm going to move into the kitchen and we're going to show you what's happening in there. I really like the kitchen here in Camp Liberty, and there's some differences between Camp Liberty and 216, and I'll go ahead and explain those to you. First of all, it's a residential sink, stainless steel sink in Camp Liberty, and in 216 we kind of had a plastic RV sink, and the faucet in 216 was a little bit harder to use, where this is a residential grade faucet. And, you can spray, you can run the water, just like you can at home if you have one of these sprayer faucets. But I really do like that option that they are now putting in their camps, which they weren't before. Again, the cabinets, David installed these little risers to help hold they're like soft lift. So they, when you close them, they just kind of close right down. So I really like those a lot. Thank you, David. Love them. So those are my upper cabinets. I have my dishes up there. Lower cabinets in the drawers. I've got, of course, your utensils and your things that you're going to use in the kitchen. And also, again, nice big lit cabinet underneath the sink, which is good for storage of our dish rack and that kind of stuff. So one thing that we have in this camp that we didn't have in 216 is a really nice size pantry. David's going to put some built-ins in here for me, some shelving and some pull-out drawers so that we can actually store quite a bit in this pantry for when we're on the road for a week or two at a time. So I've got upper storage and I also have lower storage. And of course, they're lit cabinets, which I really like. So one thing that we added to Camp Liberty that we really wanted to have in Camp 216 was we added a weather station. And David's going to go over that more in another video on how he installed it and what the weather station does. But it's nice to know what your inside and outside temperature are, and also the wind speed, because sometimes we can get some pretty horrific winds here in Southern Oregon, and it's nice to know that. We have a wonderful kind of vintage looking clock, which I love. So there's an AM FM standard USB radio, and here's some more of our USB switches that we added up here. So we've got a lot of capability with USB and AM FM radio. We've got our TV, which we absolutely love, and I'm going to show you the rest of the kitchen. That you saw the kitchen part, or the sink part of the kitchen. This is actually the cooking part of the kitchen. I really love the amount of space that we have, and we did receive another instant message via Instagram from #OnlyTheStrong. He's really excited. I think they're going to actually purchase a camp, but he added a question about our wood stove, and I have to say, we have used this wood stove morning and night since we got the camp. Anytime we're in the camp, we're using the stove, but it's still, kind of cold out. And it's super easy to load, to light, to clean. And we actually love the glass in the front, so you can actually see the fire in the stove, and it actually toasts this up really well. Like any woman, I'm always cold, David's always hot, and so David tries to find that middle ground, but it's not always easy. Sometimes it gets a little warm in here. So the nice thing about a camp is the wood storage underneath. Now the one thing that we don't have in Camp Liberty that we did have in Camp 216 was lighting underneath this cabinet, which we will probably end up having to add because it's really useful. So all of our wood storage goes right under here. We've got our kindling, we've got our wood, and we also have our newspaper and a lighter. So it makes it really easy to load the stove, to clean the stove. This is like the perfect stove. Now through Peak Mountain Camps, you can either order a pellet stove or wood burning. We prefer wood burning. We've got lots of wood. So I absolutely love this stove. We had a great stove in Camp 216, Camp Liberty. I think this is actually a better stove. And I also added the hood, which is really nice, and the stainless steel backsplash, which is really important for the fireplace, but it's also important and really easy to clean the backsplash for the stove. So I have my fan here, I've got my light, and I love to cook in my Instant Pot, which I'll talk about later. So the stove is really easy to light. I have to say, this is like super easy, and it's super efficient. And I absolutely just love this. The oven the same way, lights on with a spark, and it's really easy to bake in. So you can, have your cookies and also your Instant Pot meals or tortillas or breakfast or whatever. And my candles, I absolutely love. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. Phoenix Furnishings. So you can find them online. Amanda has an excellent supply of handmade candles. She's local here in Oregon, and I absolutely love her candles. They're the best. Phoenix Furnishings, Facebook, and also online. So the amount of counter space that I have here is truly amazing. Tons of lighting, tons of storage. I love to cook, so it's kind of fun to have that here in the camp. And if you like the color of our cabinet, it's called Naughty Alder. Absolutely love it. So you'll notice that we also have a lot of switches here. Hot water heater on, our water pump on, Bogart system. I would highly recommend adding that. That helps you know your battery level, the wattage, the volts, all of that kind of information. We do have heated tanks in our camp because it gets really cold here at the ranch, so we can turn those on and actually not have our tanks freeze, which is really important. So this also tells us how much water we have in our gray water, our black water, how much fresh water we have, all right here at the touch of a finger. So that's really nice to have. So you might be wondering, like, what is this big thing that I have here on our countertop? This is an air purifier, and it works amazingly, and I absolutely love it. And we actually ordered some for the house at home. So this is made by Swiffer. I ordered it on Amazon, and originally when we got it, I thought it was going to be really small. So when we opened it up out of the box, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so big. But I absolutely love it. It's quiet, you don't hear it, and there's no dust inside the camp. And I don't know if you have a house that's kind of dusty, or sometimes RVs are dusty, and this camp used to be really dusty. No dust. I have to say, this is probably just one of the best additions we've added. It's a little large, but I don't mind. It keeps my camp nice and clean, and it runs. It's on now. It's quiet. You don't really hear it. So that's a Swiffer air purifier, and you'll love it. Right here we have our inverter switch. We added an inverter to this camp within like 2 weeks ago. So on Camp 216, we didn't have an inverter. We wish that we had an inverter, and we wanted to add that to Camp Liberty. So we went back to Utah. We met up with Weston and the boys, and we had some upgrades made a couple weeks ago. We added a couple of batteries, and we added a 3,000 watt inverter. That lets us control the inverter from here, so we don't have to go out to turn it on. We can actually control that from right here inside the camp. So this sweet little thing right here is a Humphrey propane lamp. This goes back to the days of the original sheep camps, and it's really cool. We absolutely love it. So let me show you how this works. If I can light it, anyone can. It's super, super easy. So there's a little lever here on the side. You push that in, turn it up, and there you go. This is super cool. The ambiance on this little light at nighttime is just wonderful. Just a really nice little addition that we love having on our camp. And you'll want to have one of these for sure on your camp. Humphrey's propane lamp runs off of our propane. So one thing we had in Camp 216, we also have in Camp Liberty, is an air conditioning unit. Now this one we added a soft start. That allows us to go ahead and run this air conditioner off of we have a little Honda generator. It's a 2000i Honda generator, and we can run this air conditioner off of that generator using the soft start. Think about the air conditioner unit when you're ready to order your camp.